Tate Chronicles now transmitting.
Welcome to the Tate Chronicles on Healthcare Now Radio. And now, here's your host, Jim Tate.
Good day, citizens of the free world, from border to border, coast to coast, and all the ships at sea. I'm Roberta Mullin, sitting in for Jim Tate today. Thank you for joining us on the Tate Chronicles. We're broadcasting live today from Healthcare Now Radio studio booth at HIMSS 21 in Las Vegas. Our special guest today is Doug Herr. He is the VP of EHR Services at DeliverHealth. Welcome aboard, Doug.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Okay, Doug, we're going to start out with a little about yourself. Tell us a little about yourself and your journey getting to DeliverHealth.
Sure. So I am from Boston, Massachusetts, and started my healthcare IT history with Children's Hospital Boston some 23 years ago, implementing a small little EHR called Epic. Over the last 23 years, I've had a huge, wonderful opportunity to work with many of our top clients across the country, and started with Nuance several years ago that has now evolved and become DeliverHealth. I'm very excited to be here today to talk to you.
Yeah, that's a matter of fact, DeliverHealth is relatively new. And
yes.
Give us just that little overview on how it was formed and why was it formed.
Yeah, it was really all about perfect timing. Nuance, being a AI technology company, had really made a decision to further invest in their opportunity to work closely with Microsoft. So the HIM and EHR services, and these are services, spun away from Nuance and created DeliverHealth. And now DeliverHealth is providing services to all of our customers and expanding in our capabilities across many of our technology and EHR investments.
So in a short time, DeliverHealth is ranked number 3 in best of class, right?
Well, we're technically tied, but we'll still take it. And we're really honored to be recognized by our customers, filling out those KLAS, customer service surveys, and then sending those in. And under the new logo of DeliverHealth, it's really exciting for us, and we're going to try for number 1.
Yeah, I think the KLAS whole deal is because it's the people that are using the products that are actually telling what is the good and what's good. And so I think it has a lot of clout when you get that right.
That's right.
So where you got that, congratulations, by the way, but it was in the EHR Go Live Activation Services, right? That was the category?
Yes. Right now, KLAS still does call it Go Live. They are looking to transition it to activation because our services are far beyond just at the elbow Go Live support. It includes training, chart abstraction, installs, and so forth. So it's a much broader category than just Go Live.
So let's talk a little bit about the work that's in that category, the managed EHR and IT services that you're doing. So during the pandemic, we obviously saw this big boom in virtual care. Everybody was going over to virtual care. So did DeliverHealth and your implementation and IT services, did they also have to pivot to remote access?
Oh, absolutely. Most of our services, especially in the category we're just talking about, Activation and Go Live, was traditionally where we would send up to 1,000 people to be on site to help and support clinicians and end users. Because of the pandemic, we had to quickly set up a model that would allow for virtual support through various technology investments like a chat capability, so I could pop up on the doctor's laptop or on his phone, and that we would be able to answer questions, see their screen, and do everything like we would be able to do if we were there, but virtually.
So tell us a little about what did work moving to that particular remote.
Yeah, what was very successful was we were able to meet expectations around wait times so that we were answering most of the calls within less than 10 seconds. And we were also seeing a huge increase in what we basically call immediate resolution. So that one call, we were able to identify the problem, fix the problem, and allow the end user or clinician to go back to work with no further interruption. So that was super successful there.
And what do you think some of the biggest challenges were for the providers?
Yeah, the not being present was absolutely the challenge, where they had an expectation. When you make a commitment and bring over a new EHR, you have to make a commitment right from the beginning for that clinical adoption and transformation. In this case, they were told they were going to have someone there to support them. And now, due to the pandemic, they now had to face a virtual alternate, support model. And that unfortunately caused a lot of issues and ultimately caused a significant number of customers to delay their go live. For some of them waited over a year.
For just EHRs, not the virtual care.
The EHRs themselves, the go live of whatever, if Epic, for example, most of our customers were implementing Epic and either did months of delays or an all-out cancellation for over 12 to 18 months because the physicians really still wanted on-site support.
Right. So speaking of support, you have a training model you call the personalization and simulation labs that you believe is the path to EHR satisfaction. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I want you to tell me a little bit about the benefits of that.
Yeah, I try to categorize them. So the first is this private one-on-one session with the physician. So right off the bat, they feel like they're being recognized and understood. They have different needs. One physician's a urologist, the other's the orthopedics. They're not the same. And this gives them an opportunity to ask questions, the freedom to ask questions that are specific to them. And we can dig deeper into the EHR with them versus a broader classroom where I might have clinicians from all different specialties, right? So they're a little less intimidated, and so they ask for more and they get more. The second one could be the flexibility. So now we can set up a schedule 8 p.m. at night on a Saturday if that's when you would like it. We're not asking for you to leave your clinic. We're not asking for you to go to a special location because we're offering all of these primarily virtually now, and it's really working very, very well for us. And then, finally, the virtual labs include a lot of tools that the physicians will learn to use, like their chat buttons, screen sharing, and we even have what's called a physician-to-physician session. So other physicians who have supported your specialty, so again, let's stick with urology, you will have an opportunity to talk about how it's affected other specialties in that same area.
So you said that it was very successful, this online training.
Yeah.
So is that a future in your company? Are you going to continue to do this? Give both sides of it or allow you to continue to do that?
Well, we offer it on site as well. Mm-hmm. It's to the discretion of the client. Right. I will just say that we've made further advancements and investments in technology to help this be more beneficial in a virtual model. Mm-hmm. And it reduces cost to the customer. And it also obviously reduces risks, right? So a person-to-person risk. So we hope to continue to grow this business in a virtual setting, but again, totally available on site as well.
Right. So everybody likes to hear about best practices. Tell us a little bit about best practices in this area.
Yeah. So the first one is all about flexibility, right? So very important to be flexible on time and location. We needed to also pair up service line experts with each physician, such as like a former OB nurse with a OB/GYN doctor, right? So then they feel, again, it's that specialty to specialty connection. The online tools also became important. So making sure the comfort level with the chat, showing that functionality, capability. You'd be really surprised that not everybody is very comfortable with online chat. And that was sort of a surprise to me. So that was something that we found as best practices to familiarize your team, your physician, all of the end users with chat capability. And then finally, I think timing. So if you have a go live scheduled and let's say it's going to be October 1st, you really need to look and strategically think about not only regular training, but personalization and how that aligns with the time of your go live so that everything's still fresh. Everything is still there. The buy-in's still there. The security's still there. Otherwise, you're going to see an uptick in calls and at-the-elbow requests during the actual go-live.
That's interesting about the chat. What do you think people are? They don't type? What's the deal?
So, it's funny. It's like somebody asked me recently how I felt about using mobile apps, as in terms of for my healthcare. And I told a joke. I just recently deposited a check using my phone for the first time ever. I didn't think it worked. I didn't trust it. I didn't want it. Mm-hmm. And things like chat and having that appear on your computer, I think it's in the same category where it's not something that they use in their regular life. It's not something they use for entertainment, and therefore it has no value to them and it doesn't belong in the workplace. And that's a new mentality that we need to shake up a little bit and say, hey, do you know it's the year 2021? But out of respect, understand there are variations of customers, patients, physicians, and end users that aren't always adopting as quickly as others.
Maybe an age problem too.
Well, I would say, I'm 50 years old and I just cashed my first check. So maybe, right, my nieces and nephews would probably make fun of me. Absolutely.
Right. They would ask you what a check is.
Touche. Very good. Very good. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about health IT staffing models. What does DeliverHealth have to do with health IT staffing?
Sure. We have two variations of models that we see that are in demand today. So the first and probably most relevant is what's called managed services. This is where you're outsourcing your day-to-day IT maintenance needs to a company that can really take on the calls, enter in the ticket management system, the requests, and from there, of course, be able to expedite the work that needs to be done so that it can be completed without any interruption to your day's services at the client. So that's number one. The second is when we have a major project happening or an initiative, an IT initiative that requires a subject matter expert and or project manager who can come in and lead and deliver through that project. So the first, managed services, more of a long-term, multi-year approach to a staffing model where you'll keep your own full-time employees working on internal projects while the managed services folks are doing day-to-day. The one other benefit to that, too, is most EHRs have regular upgrades. And so when you use a managed services company, they can proactively assist with revision of release notes and really helping plan how you're going to take on that next quarterly upgrade.
If you're just tuning in, I'm talking to Doug Herr. This is the Tate Chronicles. We're broadcasting from HIMSS 21 in Las Vegas. Doug and I are talking about EHR services and implementation. So we just ended up with some health IT staffing models that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Tell me how they. Sorry, let me go back. Tell me about your clients. Who are your clients?
Sure. Our clients are all hospital systems throughout North America, and we also have transcription services in several countries throughout the world. In EHR services specifically, our customers are large academic hospital systems, but we also do cover small ambulatory clinics, primary care clinics, and all specialty clinics. So really, all of healthcare.
And when you go into these hospitals, you're working with the IT department?
Primarily, we work with the Chief Information Officer. We can also sometimes work with the PMO, and those are those that are responsible for the IT divisions within their organization.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about what you think future trends are in the health IT models.
Yes, sure. I think the immediate, of course, that I don't know if you've had the opportunity, telehealth. So telehealth has been around, let's face it, for 10 plus years. Just wasn't anything that was really pushed or necessarily driver behind a hospital or clinician's means to see clients. But with the pandemic, obviously there was a reprioritization of ways to be able to ensure continued care for patients, and the introduction to telehealth. I think telehealth is only going to explode from here. We're going to see new technology introduced to simplify, to get the adoption. Now this is different. We've been talking about clinician adoption to EHRs. Now we need adoption of the patient, and the patient to understand what is a patient portal, how do I access my own medical record information, and how do I get an appointment with the doctor where I can not even have to leave my home? How can I introduce all these aspects of health care through a virtual platform like a patient portal? So there are several others to your question, but I think if I had to give you one big one, telehealth is absolutely the biggest.
So that's what you think's going on in the industry. What's next for DeliverHealth?
Next for us is obviously a continued focus on the patient. So we understand that we are at a crossing roads where the EHR systems are going to continue to expand in areas around revenue cycle capture, clinical optimization, and simplification of clinical documentation, right? Because that's a big word. So we're going to focus on all of those. But I think right now the sensitivity in the next 18 to 24 months is going to be again around that patient involvement in their own healthcare. We have expanded and set up patient call centers. We are working with several of our customers. Initially, we set these up as a rapid response during COVID lockdown. And then it transitioned 6 months, 9 months later into vaccine clinics. And now we're finding it's transitioning into appointment reminders, and also even encouraging patients. Hey, you haven't seen your doctor in 4 years. So outbound calls trying to encourage and educate the patients on what options do they have so that they don't disengage from their own healthcare. And so I think from a DeliverHealth perspective, those three areas of focus, the provider, the clinician, of course, and the provider being the management system, the clinician, of course, being our physicians and nurses, and then our patients.
That sounds great. Tell us how people can get in touch with DeliverHealth.
Yeah, well, the easiest is obviously our website. So you can go to www.deliverhealth.com, and that's all one word. But also we are very predominant on social media. So we are on Facebook, again, under DeliverHealth, or on LinkedIn. And so I know
Twitter.
Or Twitter. Mm-hmm. I thank you for reminding me. Yep. That's a newer one for me, but now I'm becoming a Twitter expert myself. So
that's good. I am going to put in a little plug. You're hiring.
Yes, we are hiring. We are growing and hiring. And I can tell you in my division alone, in my business of the EHR services, we are hiring call agents. We are hiring application management analysts. We are hiring directors, managed services directors, and marketing has several openings, and sales. So we are looking across all the organization to continue to grow. I think we're just over 2,200 employees worldwide now. So, one thing that you had started with earlier was that DeliverHealth is fairly new. We're really not a startup. Remember, we are an entity that has brought all the years of expertise and the infrastructure over. And now we're just, what we're doing? We're expanding on it, making it stronger, better, and meeting the needs of our customers.
Now, with that, when you said you brought it over, there are some legacy things that you took on from Nuance, right? Yes,
just again. So, two legacies came over. One was my business unit, which is the EHR services, and that included all of our at the elbow support, go live, and training. And then the others are HIM, which is our transcription and iScribe components of the organization.
Well, if you want to work for DeliverHealth, go out. I think you have a careers section on your website.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure do.
We also have on Health IT Answers, we do every Tuesday, we do a Talent Tuesday, and I know you guys are in it this week.
Great.
For wanting to. The other plug I wanted to put in, if you're a Healthcare Now Radio listener, then you might have heard your colleague Klaus, and he has what he calls the 5-point clinical documentation IT resilient checklist. I'm not asking you to comment on it. That was Klaus. I'm putting in a plug. Just you might hear it when you're listening to Healthcare Now Radio. I want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Okay.
Tate Chronicles transmission ending now.
And as Jim would say, thanks to the audience for tuning in today, and special salute to Herr for coming aboard. You can find more information on the Tate Chronicles on the programs page at healthcarenowradio.com. Until we meet again, here's wishing you smooth sailing and safe harbors.